So welcome to today's webinar. And today we're going to start talking about the balance. We have different balances that is affecting our body and affecting our quality of life. And we're going to talk about a balance in our cells. We're going to talk about the balance in our gut. And we're also going to talk about how we can strengthen our immune system. And you're going to be presented a health protocol. It's a nutrition Scandinavian test-based nutrition protocol that is helping our body. But I'm going to come back to that because it solves a lot of issues with nutrition supplements out there. And I am a nutritionist from Sweden, but I'm currently living in Norway. And when I first saw and understood the cells that I want to share with you today, is that you're going to be amazed with the information. But first, we have to understand the cells. Everything starts with one cell, and the first cells get divided and becomes 2 and 4 and 8 and so on. And humans have on average 37 trillions of cells. And about 2 billion cells are changed out every second. It's a lot, a big amount of cells that are changed out. And we have to look at the structure of the cell then, because we know now how many cells we have, but in order for them to function, the structure have to be balanced. And you're going to understand soon what I mean with that. If you're looking at the blue dot here, it's a cell. Inside the cell, we have the DNA, we have the mitochondria that is creating our energy, the ATP. I'm not going to go in too deep on that, but everyone understands that we have DNA in our cells, and it's the cell membranes. The cell membrane is supposed to protect it. So it's supposed to protect the DNA. So everything on the outside stays on the outside, everything on the inside stays on the inside. And this cell membrane is supposed to have a bunch of different functions. And they are containing about sorry for my English today. The cell membrane contains omega-3 and omega-6s. So when you're looking at the picture here, all the small blue dots are either the fatty molecule omega-3 or omega-6 fatty acid. So when we're looking at a healthy cell have a good amount of both omega-3 and omega-6s. Then what's happening then is that the cell membrane is soft and permeable, and the nutrition is able to get in, and the waste products that are accumulated in the cell is able to get out. But if we're having a sick cell, it's lacking omega-3. And what's happening then? Our cell membrane gets harder. The more omega-6 the cell membrane contains of, the cell membrane gets harder. And what's happening then? The nutrition is not able to get in as it's supposed to, and the waste is not able to get out. So the harder the cell membrane is, the bigger the problem is. And everyone have heard that omega-3 is good. But most people have heard that it's good for your brain and so on. But have anyone been telling you that omega-3 is required every time a cell is regenerated? And I was just showing you how many cells were regenerated every second, about 2 million. So we need omega-3. And if we're looking at the history of human, our DNA requires 1-to-1 ratio in order to function the best way, optimal. And that is pretty logical. If we know that omega-3 is anti-inflammatory, we know that omega-6 is pro-inflammatory. So if you have anti and pro together, it's pretty, you understand that it becomes neutral then when you have equal amounts. But what have been happening since we started farming about 10,000 years ago is that we started eating more of things that was growing when we were able to farm, and we were able to storage the food that we were eating. So when we're looking at the history of us eating our food, when our cows were still eating grass, and when our fishes were still free and was swimming around in the oceans, we had a different way of cooking also, and we were growing our food locally, and it was cooked locally or in our home. When it was this way, our balance was about 4-1. And with 4-1, I mean 4 times too much omega-6 to 1 omega-3. But what is happening right now is that for the past 60 years, the food industry have created a food culture contributes to increased cellular imbalances. And the cellular imbalances right now 15-1 in Europe and 25-1 in USA. And nowadays, our cows are not eating that much grass anymore. They are mainly eating grains. And our fish are mainly raised. And when they're raised in captivity, they're fed. What are they fed? They're fed soy and grain, which contains omega-6. So even the fish that is supposed to give us omega-3 nowadays, it's not containing the amount that we need. And also we have been starting to eat so much omega-6, even if we are eating fish once or twice a week, we're still not getting enough. And if we're looking at where we should be, when we're looking at the official recommendations, the Nordic Ministry of Health or the Nordic Council of Ministry recommends 5-1 or lower. The World Health Organization is recommending 4-1 or lower. But if we're looking at the science says 3-1 or lower. And I'm going to explain you why we want to be in a 3-1 ratio. And it's just because of the fact that we can look at omega-3 as firemen, and we can look at omega-6 as pyromaniacs. The pyromaniacs is trying to put fire on things all the time, and they're supposed to. We should have omega-6, and that's what's happening. If we cut ourselves and we get bacteria in that cut, we need omega-6. We need the fire to start and create an inflammation. But as soon as the bacteria is dead, we need the EPA, the omega-3, to hose it down, to cool it off and put the fire out. So when we're looking at it, everything underneath 3-1, I mean higher than 3-1, is a danger zone. And if we can handle 3-1 or 4-1, it depends mostly on our DNA, but 3-1 is usually a safe place to be, according to the scientists. But I have seen that there are some people that needs to have a ratio of 2-1 for optimal health. But what's happening when the main population in the United States have an imbalance of 25-1? And even if we're taking omega-3 supplements, the average is 16-1. We have 16 too many pyromaniacs that is trying to put fire. And the real problem why this is happening is the modern diet. We are not getting enough with omega-3s, we are not getting enough with polyphenols, and we are not getting enough with vitamin D3. So this is creating an imbalance in our cells. And this imbalance is putting our body on fire. We are driving inflammation inside of us, and we are not even realizing it. We start to realize it when we start to have health issues, when we start to develop arthritis, allergies, skin disorders such as psoriasis or eczema, asthma, cardiovascular disease, Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, ulcerative colitis. Sorry, my pronunciation is not the best in English, but IBS, Alzheimer's, diabetes, and osteoarthritis. And do you know of anyone that have any of these issues? It is actually so that most of our health issues today out there is due to inflammation in our body. When we have a lot of inflammation in our body, it is setting off things. And I forgot to tell you that, but one other thing that is happening when we have too much of omega-6s in our cells, not only does the cell membrane get harder, but we get inflammation in the cells, but also when we're having too much omega-6 and too much inflammation, the hormone receptors on our cell membranes, they're not able to, they're getting something called numbed out. So the hormones are not able to attach to the hormone receptors. And it's also affecting the way the cells are able to communicate with each other and affecting a whole lot. But when we're looking at the science behind omega-3, there's so much science out there about omega-3, by the way. But in this report in particular, it says if you have 15:1 to 16.7:1 ratio, and you are able to lower it down to 4:1, in the secondary prevention of cardiovascular disease, a ratio of 4:1 was associated with 70% decrease in total mortality. That is a significant reduction. And you're doing it with omega-3. It's also showing that it reduces the risk of breast cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, and colorectal cancer. They have also been doing research in mood profile, and it was shown that when you were able to lower the imbalance, so you increase the omega-3, you also lowered the anger, the tension, the exhausting feeling that people have, depression, confusion, and the energy went way up. So if there was a test that could tell you whether the food you eat today has a positive or a negative effect on your overall health, would you like to take that test? And that's what I found 6 months ago. I found the balance test that Cincino had. This was actually developed by some scientists and doctors at St. Olof's Hospital in Trondheim. But it was considered two alternatives. So a private company went in and bought up the technology, and that company is called Cincino. They have been on NASDAQ for over 10 years. So they're a publicly traded company. They have been on, it's a 15-year-old company. And what they're doing is that they're outsourcing the testing to an independent lab called Vitas Laboratoria. That is a laboratory down in Oslo in Norway. And that's the laboratory where almost every doctor in Norway are sending their lab tests to. So Cincino, they had a blood test that was tested on an independent laboratory, and they have next generation omega-3 oil, and I'm coming back to that. But they also offered a money back guarantee. So if you're already taking omega-3 supplement, you can take the test, and if you are already in 3:1 balance or better, you will have your money back. And when I'm saying the next generation's omega-3, it is because this is a unique combination. What Cincino have done is that they have been taking, they have understood the nature. Because in nature, when the fish are swimming in the sea, where you find the fish, you find polyphenols. So where you find omega-3, you find polyphenols, and they are connected. But in the process of us cleaning out the omega-3, so we can take the omega-3 and use it and sell it to people, in that process, the polyphenols are also cleaned out. What a lot of other omega-3 products do then is that they're adding vitamin E or another antioxidant. And the vitamin E is okay to protect omega-3 as long as it is on a shelf in the store. But as soon as we're taking it into our body, it gets separated in the system. So they're not always that effective in our body, and it's giving the omega-3 the protection it needs in order for it to stay active in our body for so many hours. Many products are actually just available in our body for about 2 to 6 hours. And I have still not met anyone that wants to take their omega-3 every other hour 24 hours a day. So what they understood that if they're adding polyphenols back to the omega-3, then they have this awesome combination that is being able to be really strong and being active for over 30 hours. And they also have the right dosage. How many of you have been out in the store, you have picked something off the shelf that says omega-3, and you hope that it's working for you. And then you read on the label and it says 2 capsules for an adult, 1 capsule for a kid. Well, I got the kid that only weighs about 15 pounds, and I got the kid that weighs about 60 pounds. It's a big difference between kids. It's a big difference between adults. An adult that weighs 140 pounds cannot have the same, need for omega-3 as a person that weighs 200 pounds or 250. So what they understood that if we have different body mass, we have different amount of cells, and we need the right dosage for our cells to always have the right amount it needs. So they dosage it with an amount per pound, and I'm not very good in English, so it's 0.15 per kilogram, but it will say on the package. I test everything out, everything I recommend. And this was my first test, and I'm embarrassed to show it. I have been taking omega-3 supplement prior to this almost daily for over 6 years because I know how important omega-3 is. And this was my first test result. It shows that my protection was not very good. It also shows that my ratio was 9.4 to 1, so 9.4 times too much omega-6 in every cell. It also shows that my cell membrane fluidity was 6.7. That means that it was almost twice as hard as it's supposed to be. But what is so fascinating is when I use the balance oil, this is just a small one, the traveling size that I've got up here in my office. When I use the balance oil, I took another test after 120 days, and you will see the result here. My second test was 2.0 to 1, and you can see how green my numbers looks like. Suddenly, my protection was up to 100% instead of 15%. And suddenly, my ratio was good, and the cell membrane fluidity is starting to be a lot better. So I am very happy with my results. And I just have to tell you too, this result, it's helped me a lot with my health. I used to have lots of inflammation in my back and in my neck, causing me to feel like I was paralyzed, not being able to get up from my bed by myself in the morning. So many, I'm not even sure how many days in a year that happened. That, and also I had food allergies. I was allergic to bananas, apple, pear, plums, avocados, and carrots. I will not say that I'm not allergic anymore, but at least I have not been in need of any allergy medication since I switched my omega-3 to this brand. And what do our customers say? We have Eleonora. She's 33 years old from Las Vegas. She's a fitness girl, and she has been taking supplements and been eating healthy for many years. And she says after she had been trying omega-3, the balance oil, hey girl, I've noticed I dream more now, and I'm more calm in stressful situation, help my mental health for sure. She didn't experience any issues prior to this, but she saw her test and she tried it, and she was super happy with the results. We got Steven from New York. He says that I did not know that my test would not be in balance. I have worked with omega-3 and know how important it is for our health and brain. And as soon as I saw my results, I ordered balance oil at once. We also got Camilla. She is vegan. She's from Sweden. She's 31 years of age, and she has 5 kids. Always when I'm pregnant, I experience intense morning sickness. I started on vegan balance oil while pregnant with my 5th child because I had heard how important omega-3 is to an unborn baby's development. After just 3 days on the balance oil, my nausea was non-existent. I went from being sick several times a day to being sick barely once a week for 3 weeks, and then the problem was gone. I got my energy back, and I was able to arrange my birthday party for my daughter that week after I started with oil. My life changed. My joint pain has disappeared and my health improved. And her imbalance was 24-1. And she believed that she was eating healthy due to all her food choices. But eating a vegan diet means that you're eating lots of things that is growing and very little of omega-3. And that is causing issue in the cell membranes. So when she was able to correct this cell membrane issue with the vegan oil that we have, she experienced a big health benefit. So is there a difference in omega-3 and omega-3? Yes, it is. So hold on, not run out to the stores quite yet. I need to explain this for you. If you have an omega-3 at home, please go and check the value content after I'm done. But the important things to look at is the EPA. How much EPA are you able to get? And how much of DHA? And this 12 milliliter is a dose for 80 kilos. I think that is equal to 165 or 70. I should write that down so I don't forget about it. But it's 80 kilos if you want to translate it. And also, we need to make sure that the antioxidant we are using is a good antioxidant. We're using polyphenols that comes from olives that is very early harvested. So they are very rich in polyphenols. And that's from the Mediterranean diet too. You have heard that Mediterranean people are always having a really healthy heart. It's due to the olive oil and the polyphenols. So we're adding that. And polyphenols is also helping us to get oxygen up to our brain, helping us with a lot of things. And you can research polyphenols too. I think that is also decreasing your chance of dying with many years, or extending your life, sorry. And the brain is amazing. An organ that weighs about 1.5 kilos in an adult, it has over 100 billion nerve cells. Each cell has approximately 1,000 links with each other, with each cell. And 60% of the brain dry weight is fat, and 40% is saturated fatty acids, and 20% is essential omega-3 fatty acids. And 50% of neuronal plasma membrane is DHA. And omega-3 is something we cannot get into our body except for eating it. We need to add it to our diet. And it is so important to replenish the foundation of the brain with the right type of fatty acids. It is so important. Because what's happening if we're not doing it? Our brain can be looked at as our storage, and especially women is taken from that storage if we're not getting enough, especially when we are pregnant and nursing. So I have seen studies done about the volume decreasement that women get of their brain if we're not getting enough with fish and omega-3. So it is super important. So if we have high imbalance between omega-3 and omega-6, it is causing inflammation in our body. But if we're able to change that imbalance, then our cells get happy and green again. But we have something more that we need to focus on, and it's our gut. Because many of us is eating food that is favoring harmful bacteria and inflammation. I'm not sure if you have heard about leaky gut syndrome before, but leaky gut is affecting many aspects of our health. It can affect our brain. If we have depression, anxiety, or ADHD, or any other brain-related issue, it's actually most likely coming from the gut. They have seen that not so much is related to DNA. It's mainly related to gut, because we're inheriting our gut flora from our parents as well. We're eating the same food that they are usually when we're growing up. So it's a lot coming from the gut. If we have issue with skin, sinus infection a lot, or if we get frequently colds or food sensitivities, if we're having problems with our thyroid, usually in combination with iodide, lacking iodide, if we have problem with adrenals or colon, constipation, diarrhea, IBD. If we have a problem with our joints, it's most likely from the gut. And it is this, that the gut connects with the brain in 3 different ways. And that's why I'm saying that a lot of our issues with our brain comes from the gut. It's actually so that the gut is having a nickname, and it's our second brain. And it's connecting with the brain in 3 different ways: through the vagus nerve, to the spinal cord, and through the blood. And what's so fascinating is that it shouldn't really connect that much with the blood, but it is, due to leaky gut. And leaky gut is the start of poor health. And it's not that you have to notice that you have leaky gut. Many people doesn't have any symptoms in the stomach area, but it still affects us. So if you have any one of these, stomach problems, bloated stomach, diarrhea, or stomach upset, if you have a nutrition deficiency, like if you're always lacking iron, for example, that can be an issue. If you have a weak immunity system, if you have headaches, memory problem, brain fog, if you experience extreme fatigue, if you have skin problems, if you are craving a lot of sugar and carbs, if you have a problem gaining weight. Losing weight is also a problem, but that is usually due to the inflammation in our cells, because when our cell membranes get too hard, the nutrients are not able to get in, and also it affects us becoming insulin resistant. So they're both related. If we're having a problem losing weight, or if we're having a problem gaining weight, it's either the inflammation or the gut, usually. If we're having problem with arthritis, joint pain, chronic inflammation, depression, anxiety, concentration problems, ADHD, ADD, or autoimmune diseases, they're all related to gut health. So what happens in the gut? It's bad food like sugar, processed food, alcohol, gluten, that is giving rise to a root process and fermentation in the intestines that favor bad bacteria. And the bad bacteria create substances that damage the sensitive intestinal mucosa, causing leaky gut. So these harmful substances ends up in the blood, and it's not supposed to be there. So it strains all the organs of the body. And there are more things that is linked to leaky gut, like stress will help us get it. Bad bacteria, toxins, pesticides, medication, antibiotics. If you have had antibiotics even from a child aspect, we can still be hurting gut-wise from it. So leaky gut, that's when undigested food particles and bacteria is able to get out in the bloodstream and setting off inflammatory processes. And how can we balance the gut? We can eat fermented food like sauerkraut, or we can have it like active bacteria in kefir and different things. You can also do it with a probiotic, but it's always debatable if the probiotic if the bacteria is actually alive. It's hard to know that. You can exercise and move a lot, and that is helping the gut to heal, because it will just help your overall health and get the stomach movement to move the poop out of you. And also eat more prebiotic fibers. The reason why I like to use prebiotic, because it is the food for the good bacteria. And we are able to duplicate the good bacteria faster if we are feeding them the good food than we are just eating a pill with probiotics, because those probiotics that you are gaining in your stomach, they still need a good food in order to be able to survive and duplicate. And WHO did a study in 2019, and they said a high fiber intake reduced the risk of dying prematurely by 30%. So it reduces colon cancer by 25%, reduces breast cancer by 20%, reduces heart attack with 25%, and reduces stroke by 20%. And an average diet contains 15 grams of fibers, where only 3.5% grams is prebiotic fiber. So 9 out of 10 people are not getting enough with prebiotic fiber or fiber in general in their diet. And WHO recommended that we are doubling what we're getting. So 30 grams of fibers and 7 grams of prebiotic fiber. So we have something called Scandinavian. It's a prebiotic blend, and it is super effective because this blend, I will come back to that, but it's an amazing blend that helps throughout the colon. It gives a better intestinal health, it balances cholesterol, so and it reduces blood sugar after meals, so you will not experience, you will be more leveled when you're eating it and not be having those high peaks of insulin. It will help you with healthier bowel and balance the intestinal flora and cleans the large intestines. So, and the xenobiotics can be used in your porridge or in your smoothie or as a shake. I like to put it in the porridge or in my kefir in the morning. And the gut is a very complex thing. What's important to understand with the gut is that different things is happening in the gut in different places. And in order for these different things to happen, we have different kinds of bacteria. And all of these bacteria, they don't eat the same food. And that's why it's a blend with 5 different prebiotics, fibers, in order to feed all the different kinds of bacteria that is needed throughout the colon. So if we're doing that as well as adding balance oil, we're getting a healthier gut. And I also get asked many times, do we really need a dietary supplement? And when we're looking at what the FN Earth Summit report in 1992 established, they said that 100 years ago, we had significant more minerals in our soil. These have decreased by North America 85%. And the World Health Organization said in 1993 that the World Health Organization, WHO, found that our soil have reduced their nutrients content by 95% in terms of the main nutrients we need. And if we're looking at Bruce Ames, he's a professor in biochemistry and molecular biology at the University of California. He has over 450 scientific publications done. And his recent research shows that a deficient in the levels of essential nutrients is 1,000 times more important to the health of mankind than the overall effect of all pesticides and heavy metals. So therefore, Bruce Ames recommends supplements to the entire population. And he also claims that this would be extremely cost effective and provide a significant reduction in morbidity at a low cost. So I choose as a nutritionist to use supplements myself, to both me and my kids and my whole family. But it is important to understand that supplements must be of good quality. If you are taking supplements that have synthetics in them, it's not always beneficial to you and can actually be harmful. But Cincino, they saw this issue with supplements and they developed amazing products that I will come back to. But the extent here on the picture, it will help you give more energy. It helps you also with normal metabolism. It will improve your bone and joint function. It will strengthen your immune system. And I want to stop here a little bit because it contains a beta-glucan that is called beta-1316-glucan. And this is super important for our immune system. It can boost our immune system very effective. And especially nowadays, it is super important. People start thinking about what can I do to boost my immune system? I recommend you to read up on beta-1316-glucan. So I'm super happy that they have included this in the supplement. So Extend have everything that we need to have nutrition-wise for tissue growth and repair. It have all the vitamins and minerals that we need. And here is the content. And it is super impressive, and it's a super clean label. Look into it. So I am super happy with the quality and confident to give it, that it's good enough for me to give it to my kids. And what's good with it is that we don't need all of these anymore. And the reason why we are doing so good in the nutrition supplement industry is because we are having a vision of becoming the biggest pharmaconutrition company. And Dr. Paul Clayton is leading this field, and I recommend you to go to Amazon and order his book, Let Your Food Be Your Pharmaconutrition. You will be blown away. And with the Extend, we have come out with an Extend Plus that is all natural. And this is how much you get in 4 tablets, 4 capsules of Extend Plus. It's a very good source of micronutrients. So if you're doing that, you're also making sure that you have all the building stones that you need for repairment and creating things. So if we're looking at this, the health protocol that Encino got, it is a complete system for those who want to invest in their health. So we have the balance oil that helps all the cells, organs, and tissues. We have the Xenobiotics that helps the stomach, bowel, and immune system. And we have the Extend that increases protection and increases cellular building blocks and improve metabolism. So if you want to, you should get in contact with the person that invited you today to become a premium customer. You can choose to just try the balance oil and blood test, but you can also decide if you want to really boost your immune system. And if you want, and they will help you with that. But this is the price for health protocol. So instead of paying $330 for the blood test, the 2 blood tests, you're only paying $79 if you're buying it together with the balance oil and the Xenobiotic and the Extend. So that would be $97 a month, but the first time it will be an added $79 for the balance tests. And I want you to understand that it depends on your weight. The person that invited you will help you calculate how much you would be needing. And what's so good in USA and Canada is that there is no, you can cancel your subscription anytime, but you need to, in order for you to get your second blood test, you need to still be a subscriber in your 5th month. But Encino, it's a private company, and they have chosen to reward every person that wants to be rewarded. Because they understand that in order for us to really trust the company, we trust the company when we see the result of that other people have. So instead of them having to pay Jennifer Aniston to stand in front of the TV and say, I got imbalance, try it too, they give the chance to you. So if you like to refer 4 other people to listen to this information and try the product, you can earn your products for free. They have also been, you will also get an app when you become a customer. And with this app, you can set your time when you want a reminder on your phone. And it will show up every day and say, hey, have you remembered your balance oil? And you can press yes or snooze. If you're doing that every day, you will, after 1 year, 365 times you have been pushing that button, be able to get free shipping for the rest of the time that you are a Encino customer. So every single customer out there are able to earn both free products and free shipping if they want. And we do have a Encino customer forum that we're building up. We have one in Norway that is really good. You can become a member there if you want to learn more. But whoever that was inviting you, we follow up and answer anything that you might wonder. I will also see if there are any questions so I can answer them. But thank you so much for attending. It was super fun to be here and be sharing this with you. I mean, I am a little bit tired. It is almost midnight in Scandinavia, and I got 3 little kids in my family that is making me use my energy during the day. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. I'm gonna see if there are any questions here that I'm gonna answer today. I just need my to. It says, great job and very interesting. Okay, I will scroll up a little bit and see what you guys have been writing. Yeah, Javier says that his test was 17.6 to 1 with Mediterranean diet. Yeah, that's good, Javier, that you're sharing that, because then I don't feel as bad. My test was 35 to 1 after 15 years of Mediterranean diet. Second test was 3 to 9 to 1. That is a good increasement. Leaky gut symptoms, normal characteristic of daily life in America. Yeah, it is actually so that most people actually have leaky gut. That's one of the biggest issue. So most of us is having a leaky gut. If we're eating bread, for example, daily, gluten is proven to cause leaky gut. And unfortunately, a lot of people are eating bread every day. So that's a big issue too. Okay, are there any questions? No? Then I'm just saying thank you for joining in tonight. I am happy to be here and sharing this opportunity, these products with you. And I hope you are having a good day. Thanks for me. Bye-bye.